How's it going? Today I'm going to show you how I install this bed frame with a headboard. Now this is going to be a platform bed frame. The reason I got it is because it does not need a box spring. It's just going to be the mattress directly on the slats. It also has a few screws. So like sometimes there's millions of screws. This one has just a fair bit. We've got 7, 8, 8, and 9. So it really shouldn't be too bad. We're going to take it step by step and hopefully get this put together fairly quickly. All right, for step 1, we're gonna get piece 8 and piece 1. Those are the headboards. You want the padded side face downwards, and you have these connectors right here. It's basically gonna slot into place, and you're gonna use E bolts to connect them. Now, E is gonna be your small ones here, and it does come with an Allen key. Now, you can use a tool to get these to go a little bit faster, but you're gonna wanna make sure that it's finger tightened to start so that you don't strip the threads, because if you strip the threads on these, things get a lot more difficult. So don't strip the threads, just kind of put it in place and then just kind of get it started. And if it's in the track, then you can go ahead and put a drill on it afterwards. But if you wanna just be safe, then you can just use the little Allen key provided. I like to spin it like this. For these, it's a little bit quicker than actually trying to like crank it, and then when it's too tight, you just give it the short end into it and then you turn, and that gives you the max leverage, because these will start to hurt your fingers after a while just because the tool's so small and there's not much leverage on the piece. All right, for step 2, we're gonna use piece number 2. Now this is gonna have the 2 holes in front and you're gonna have the 2 holes at the top, and basically you're gonna go ahead and line this up. You're gonna use the long bolts. These are gonna be bolt B. And bolt B, you're just gonna go ahead and slide it through. You can see how it's coming out the other side. And you're just gonna line up where that hole is. And again, start like finger tightening it. I'm gonna get both of them kind of started first on this one. And then I'm probably gonna stand this up to get it to tighten in place, because I can already tell this is not like perfectly in line. So I'm gonna need some leverage to kind of like crank this down in place. Or maybe I could put it on my foot like this. That works just as well. I'm gonna go ahead and just start kind of cranking. And this is just gonna kind of squish this rail into the frame, and it's pulling on this other side. So you kind of wanna do both of them, you know, right after each other. You don't wanna just do one all the way tight. You kind of wanna tighten one and then tighten the other and kind of go back and forth, because they're kind of playing against each other. All right, now I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. All right, so for step 4, you're gonna grab piece number 4 and piece number 9, and these are the ones that have this little curve and they look like a big L shape. You're gonna go ahead and just slot them together, and it has one bolt that keeps them in place, and it's gonna be our small bolt. So it's gonna be the small ones we used in the beginning. You're only gonna put one in here, so go ahead and slot it in place, and then the one bolt's gonna go towards the bottom. There's gonna be 2 holes on this other side, and that's gonna be for later whenever we connect the middle brace piece. All right, so step 5, we're gonna grab our 2 number 3 pieces, and those are gonna be our rails on the ends, and we got these bolts here. Now these bolts are gonna be the ones with the built-in washer. We're gonna grab 8 of them, and they're gonna go and attach to the headboard, and then the other end is gonna attach to pieces 4 and 9, the ones we just put together. So I'm gonna go ahead and just start on this side. And you're gonna wanna start on one end first. And it can be a little tricky because it's not gonna be perfectly level, so you're gonna have to kind of like balance or maybe get some help, or you could possibly have somebody hold the other end or like set it up. I have enough strength, I can just pull it with one hand and kind of get this started. And the idea is you wanna just get them finger started before you really tighten anything down. Because if it's a little bit loose, then you can kind of make up for things not being perfectly straight, and then you can just get them straight and then just tighten it down later. So I'm gonna do both ends first, and then I'm gonna put on the actual back piece. And you can see how this is trying to stand up as it feels the weight come from the rails, number 3 rails. So we're gonna grab our other piece over here. And the biggest thing here is you just want to make sure that these channels are open towards the inside, because if you put them on backwards, it's not going to be able to accept the slats coming across, and then you're going to have to take them off and redo it. When it comes to piece 4 and 9, you want to make sure that this set of holes faces the inside. See how the back side's gonna be smooth right there? You wanna make sure the holes face in, and then you come with your 2 bolts on this piece here. So you go ahead and put your bolt on through and then just lift this one up and kind of get it started. And once you get it started, it's gonna kind of help balance the rest of it. And then you can move on to the bottom, just kind of get it started, or even move to the other side and get that one straight, because you're just building the rectangle for the bed, and then you can really start tightening things down after you get it started. But it's all pre-threaded, so you don't have to worry about any like nuts on the backside or any washers. It's just bolts going into you know, pre-threaded areas. So it's really convenient. And the Allen key, you know, yeah, it's a little short, but there's really not many bolts here, and there's not a lot of pressure. So none of this is that difficult to do. And the instructions so far have been pretty clear. Okay, so the next few steps in this were just to get the 3 number 5 pieces and the number 7 piece, and this is the most difficult step. It's not too bad, but it's there's an order to things that make it a little easier. For one, you're gonna wanna make sure the number 5 pieces are bolted in from the side about 70%. And then you do wanna make sure that the spot that looks like it's got a little square, like a washer or like a little platform, you want that to be faced upwards, and then the open-ended part you want face downwards. So this is gonna go at one end, and then it's gonna also go in the middle. And then for the center bracket, it's gonna be piece number 7. Now with piece number 7, you just wanna make sure that these are in place first, and then whenever it comes time to bolt them down, you are gonna get the long bolts, and they're gonna go from these top number 5 pieces down to our center piece. And that's going to pretty much complete like the main support, like the main skeleton of all this. So again, here's my last number 5 piece. I'm gonna go ahead and just get it started. We'll go straight through on this one because like I said before, this is the one that takes like the most amount of thinking, I guess. And it's mainly because you're not completely locking something in. You're just gonna lock it in most of the way. And the reason for that is so that you can kind of flex around and, you know, just have an easier time on yourself rather than fighting against all these bolts and the frame. But it seems like this frame is, you know, very thin material, but I think when you get all the pieces together, it actually will stiffen up pretty well. So I'm actually, you know, pretty impressed with it. And I'm excited to see how it feels with the mattress. So I'm gonna start with this middle one because I don't want this thing to fall on me. And I'm just trying to like get it straight in there so I can start tightening it down. And you are gonna wanna make sure that these are all kind of started, and then you can go ahead and tighten these down 100% of the way, and then you can work the, let me see if I can get in here. You can work the ends afterwards. Okay, there we go. Perfect. And you also wanna make sure you're in line with this one bolt. So it looks like there's only one spot for a bolt on this end. I wonder if I got that correct. Okay, so yeah, you wanna make sure that the spot that has like one hole, you want that to be at the footer of the bed, and then the one that has like this little spacer piece, that's just at the header of the bed. So yeah, make sure that's correct. I almost did it, I almost thought I had it wrong, but that is correct. And then all these slots are gonna be for the slats, but it looks like everything else gets tightened down before we start messing with the slats. And when everything's tightened, it's gonna be much straighter. You know, these things, you can see how this flexes around. So these bolts are what really brings it into shape. So you wanna make sure everything is lined up properly. And then, like I said, we're gonna bolt these middle ones down, and then we're going to move on to bolt the outside ones. And then finally, we're gonna use our small piece E over there before we put down the horizontal slats. All right, we're at the final step. So it looks like we're gonna have these pieces here. Now, typically these horizontal pieces are usually like the full length of the bed, but this, it's actually cut in half. So it's gonna be half on this side and half on that side, which, I don't know, I think that it makes them pretty strong the more I think about it. So it has these black plastic pieces on the end, and it has a slight groove, a slight channel. And the way this is gonna work is the end without it is gonna go towards the middle, and it's going to snuggle in there, I guess just a bit. And then you are going to line this up and just slot it down in place. Now there are replacement pieces in case you end up breaking some of those plastic pieces, which I don't know. I guess there's a way you could accidentally break it, but I think if you're pretty careful, it really doesn't take any strength to put these in. There is a slight click sound that it makes whenever it locks into the channel, so you do want to make sure that happens. However, I mean, if you forgot one, I think once the mattress is on, it's gonna click. The weight's gonna end up allowing it to click. But I kind of like these. It's easier to manage than having like the big long ones, and they're a lot easier to work with than the ones with the Velcro. Because the Velcro, I always felt like I got them out of place with those slats, and also, again, these are just more lightweight and they feel a lot more secure with the snap in place. I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of these on and then kind of give my final thoughts about the whole situation with this assembly and moving forward with this type of bed frame. All right, guys, so final thoughts on this thing. I mean, it's pretty sturdy. It's relatively quiet. I do like the look of this, and I also like how it's lightweight. This thing is not a million pounds. It just feels pretty solid. You know, you could move this around the room fairly easy. Like say I wanted to rotate and have the bed in front of that window there instead of right here on the wall, I could easily do that. I feel like this is overall just a pretty nice, easy to build bed frame. Now, I will say that the section with piece 7 and the 3 piece 5s, I don't know why, maybe my brain just felt like I couldn't handle it, but once I decided to just connect piece 5s first and then go for piece 7, it seemed to be a lot easier. Other than that, it was really straightforward. There were extra bolts for each one of the sizes in case, you know, you messed one up or maybe one was lost. So that was kind of convenient. Again, it's just a nice minimalistic look. It's a black platform bed frame. You do not need to have anything else. Now, there are a little bit of a lip. There's a little bit of a lip at the front so that the mattress won't go that way, but there is nothing on the end. So, I mean, that helps with the seamless look, but also it could shift over time. I think it kind of makes it easier for putting the sheets on for the actual mattress, but other than that, it's a pretty solid, sturdy, easy to build platform bed frame.